So you get on the other side of fear, it's where all the cool shit happens in life. I don't care what it's about. All the cool shit in life is on the other side of fear. So you just got to figure out how to get there.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. We are back. Craig is back.
Hey, look what the cat dragged in.
Couple weeks vacation. Where'd you go?
China and Japan.
Traveling across the country. What were you gone for 3 weeks? Living the dream?
Yes, man.
Living the dream.
When you work hard,
when
you work hard, you got to play hard.
That's right. So Sales Psychology 101 is a topic of conversation today. You know, we talk to a lot of you on a regular basis, right? I sent out, if those that haven't seen it, we sent out an email that basically we do a free strategy session to kind of help you over a half hour, take you from where you are to the next level with some ideas and strategies that you may not be doing today. So if you haven't taken me up on an offer, go ahead and check the email because I'm going to be closing it out real soon. But what I've learned on a lot of the calls is there's a lot of things that we're doing wrong in those first meetings. And we wanted to do a session on the psychology of sales so you get a better understanding of, regardless of the industry of healthcare, I mean, sales and people, it's all the same,
it's
right?
All the same, yeah.
And I've already started to put together something for you guys that is a master script for the Heads Up Advising high stakes advising event in August that's going to be game changing for those of you that attend. We'll get a copy of this step by step on what to do start to finish with your prospects that will be game changing. But we want to kind of give you a brief overview and help you from now till then, because I think it's something that a lot of us are struggling with. I say us because I do it too. I fall into my own traps too without a script or a kind of a frame to go off of, right? I mean, we just fall back into bad habits.
Especially if you're, in your own mind, you think you're successful. Well, I mean, what do I need to learn? Why do I need to change? Why should I get better? Like, look at Sean. First thing I'd do is, you know, if I came to a meeting, I'd at least shave.
Yeah, now I'm going with the beard. Been going with the beard for 2 years. It's been working.
I'm just jealous.
Ladies love it.
I couldn't even grow a mustache.
The ladies love it, so it's hard for me. It's really hard for me to take away.
He does own a female dog, by the way.
So, guys, if you're new here watching, my name's John Spracco, co-host Craig Lass, Heads Up Advisor. We teach independent healthcare advisors how to grow their business with bigger and more accounts. Okay?
Yeah.
We teach you sales, marketing strategies that producers like yourself around the country are using. We're utilizing things that work. We bring in expert guests. We got some interesting guests coming up on the show in the next 60 days. I'm not going to release the names yet because we're getting them on the schedule. But I got some big guests, people you're aware of. If you haven't seen the show with Tony Hughes, check it out. That was a big one. Let's say hello to some of you here in the comments section. Who do we got joining us today? Let us know where you're watching from. We got Todd Hudson, Zach Jones, Allison, John Clay, Ray Colbert, Spencer, Alex,
Yo, Ray.
Jennifer.
Yo, Ray. Tom Chamberlain says hi.
Rick Scarborough. Let's see. Joe. Yeah, we talked. We had a good session last week. That actually you were on the plane watching.
Yeah, I was typing. That's all I could do.
What was it again? Self-doubt. I mean, listen, guys, it was, if you haven't watched it, go ahead and back and watch the last show because it was a really good one. I gave you some ideas on dealing with self-doubt from being in the sales industry. A lot of you reached out to me, said they got a lot of value from it, and it was nice to hear from me talking about the struggles that I have, because you guys may think I'm invincible, just like I thought he was invincible, but the reality is we go through it just like you do. Obviously, because we're doing the same thing that you do, but it's not something new that salespeople face. It's a mental game.
It's all a mental game, and we've all been in the same place. I used to be there, and getting up to speed on that game is kind of what we're going to touch on today. Because last week's event, right, made a lot of sense. A lot of people identified. It resonated. Everybody at some point in time has felt that. Some guys feel that every week and wonder why they're waking up going, why am I in this business? right? We've all been there. I haven't been there in years, right? There's something to learn from that, right? So you get on the other side of fear, it's where all the cool shit happens in life. I don't care what it's about. All the cool shit in life is on the other side of fear. So you just got to figure out how to get there sooner or later. The whole point of our talk, our Facebook group, our event is going to be to shorten your learning curve and get you on the other side of fear. Because if you go to the landing page, you'll see there's already a whole bunch of people who've listened, who've learned, and most importantly, like this guy, taken action. Because it's all bullshit if you don't take action. And when you take action, you find out, damn, it's like doing something you were scared to do. You know, you go on that roller coaster and you're like,
This works.
that was so cool. I want to do it again. That's how business is. So, understand, we're here to help you guys double your book of business with half as many clients. It's all very doable. I can't wait to get an update maybe tomorrow on a broker we talked to last night who could very well have taken a fee today of a prospect. He didn't know
How to do it.
or that it could be done. And, we chatted with him late last night, sent him some cool stuff. Bingo. Why? Because he committed, right? He bought 2 tickets already to the event because he understands that when you invest in there is no better investment for all of you out there to invest in yourself. So let's segue into Sales Psychology 101.
Yeah.
Okay? This thing is programmable software. The 6 inches between your ears is a programmable software program. It's 2 million years old. It hasn't had a software upgrade in 2 million years. So, how is it wired? Why is it important? Because we're in sales. We have to meet strangers and give them confidence and certainty in what we're talking about so that they can persuade themselves into believing that you can help them avoid pain. Because this is the way the brain works. We need to be careful because there might be a saber-toothed tiger out there. That's where it all started. The brain is wired to avoid pain, avoid losses, not to achieve pleasure. Well, John's might be a little different, but most people, it's to avoid pain. What is the sales cycle? What happens when we meet a stranger and a prospect? We have to tie that story together. We have to recognize that their brain's the same as everybody else's. So they want to do anything they can to avoid a loss.
And you ask yourself the question of why is it, right, in this, we talked about self-doubt is why are they not going forward with it? It makes so much sense. It is being scared. Like you said, it's avoiding pain is so much more important to psychology and emotion than it is to have pleasure.
Tonight's going to be interactive because I'm going to ask you guys questions what you think different interested parties are trying to avoid. So let's dive a little deeper. So this is the way everything works for everybody everywhere. Beliefs become thoughts. Thoughts become actions. Or thoughts become words. Words become actions. It's freaky with these things in my ear. It's like I'm talking inside my own head. Beliefs,
Take one out.
thoughts. Yeah, I'm not a professional singer. I don't like hearing myself. So
we don't have a guest stuff. We don't even need to be wearing these.
Oh,
I was so used to having guests. I was so used to having guests. As you're gone, we don't need them.
He's dissing me. He's calling me a guest. Asshole.
We don't even need
them.
them.
So here's the deal. Okay. Your beliefs become thoughts. Your thoughts become words. Your words become actions. Your actions are deeds. They become habits. It becomes your destiny. So everything, most of you, when you're sitting in there in a prospect meeting, look, the reality is, this is the stats. 45% of you are waiting to talk. 45% of your time is waiting to talk. 45% of your time is thinking what the hell you're going to say as soon as they shut up and pause to let you talk. And you listen about 10% of the time. Wrong, wrong, wrong. Y'all got to figure out how to listen 90% of the time. How many times have I told you? This is reality. Have no expectations. Figure out how you're going to help the person, help the organization, help the employees, and the rest will take care of itself. So we have to recognize, I've mentioned to you guys numerous times, if you haven't looked it up, stop destroying your own success and go look it up. Anthony Robbins, 6 Human Needs. It's invaluable insights as
Those
to
that
how the
don't know
world
who that
works.
is, that's Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins. 6 Human Needs, it's everywhere if you'd bother to look it up. It will explain to you why your teenager can seem like they're from another planet. So here it is. The HR people you meet with have the same 6 human needs. The CFO and the owner of the small business have the 6 human needs. Your teenager, your children, your spouse, the jerks you don't like at work, they all have the 6 human needs. So the insight will allow you to hear what they're saying, and if you're listening, it'll give you insights. What are they? Number 1, people want variety. They want certainty. They want growth.
Variety / uncertainty, right?
Different. Yeah. Okay? I've been married 35 years. I like certainty in my relationships. Single people, not so much. Variety, certainty, growth, significance, love and connection, and contribution. So why do guys join gangs? Hey, if you come from a single parent family where the mom typically has to take 2 or 3 jobs to raise the latchkey children who come home, they find a replacement family. It's called a gang. It gives them connection. It gives them love. And then as they work their way up and they carry a gun, that gives them massive significance. So they get the things they can't get where they're at somewhere else. And you start to look at things and you go, okay, well, I'm not dealing with gang members, but I am talking to a business owner.
Yeah. If you're dealing with somebody, and I listened to Robbins when he said it was, you have no significance to somebody, a stranger. But if I have a gun in your head, well, you're pretty significant.
You're pretty important to me right now, and I'm going to do what you say. So how can we create the metaphorical gun when we meet a prospect? Well, we have to understand where they're coming from, which means we can't spend 90% of our time thinking what we're going to say next or waiting for them to shut up so you can talk.
Guys, this isn't, before he goes into it, this is important. This is the first meeting, the first phone call or the first meeting. I'm not talking about your strategy and your solutions. This is, the first meeting is the most important meeting, okay? And that's what we're going to teach you and show you how to master it, because that's where most of you are struggling. I struggled, but I really got good at it, and that's why I had a lot of success with closing accounts, was getting good in the first meeting. I talked to a lot of you, and I asked you questions. Well, I try to help them in the second meeting and strategize, and I start asking you guys questions that you don't have the answer to, and I think to myself, what in the hell were you talking about in that first meeting? How do you not know the answer to any of these questions? Because you probably were talking.
I can answer that, because 90% of the time you generally are the one doing the talking. But gosh, you sound so smart. Congratulations. Pat yourself on the back.
And you leave the first meeting feeling so great. I talked the whole time and they listened.
They said it was really interesting.
Yeah.
I got so much psychic income out of that. I think I'm going to go to Starbucks and reward myself. And you don't have $5 from that sale. Okay? You made no sale. 80% of interviews end up in no sale in healthcare. They just stay with the incumbent. But I'm sure you gave them lots of great consulting advice for free, right? Now, most of you do that. How many times have we heard in the last 4 months? They call us up and they go, I know I'm not supposed to do this, but I mean, they said they were going to give me a shot. And what do I tell them? The prospect a better salesman than you are.
They sell you.
They sold you. Right? I really like you, and I like what you had to say, and I'm going to give you a shot. Well, you and 2 others, right? And then they stay with the incumbent. We've all been there. I did that when I was retail. I fell for it. I got sold, but I don't get sold anymore. And so that's what we got to understand is we're sitting there talking to an HR manager who doesn't care about, generally speaking, growth of the company, significance in their position. They don't care about certainty, but they really care about making a contribution on behalf of the employees with the company. They want to almost, they're social workers. They want to protect the employees from the ivory tower corporate people, and they want to make a connection. They want to be loved by their employees. They don't want to be the bad guy. They don't want to be the policeman, the person who just enforces rules and policies and writes you up. They want to be loved by the employees. So you play on that and you try to find out, listen for it, what pain are they trying to avoid? Because so many of you, yeah, Stella's really noisy.
Stella's just, she's lonely today. Go ahead.
The majority of you are showing
she wants
up,
to take over the show here.
throwing up, and
Stella's taking over
saying,
the show.
hey,
Sorry.
we can save you 20 to 30%. And HR people don't care about that. So what John's saying is we'll talk to people after a first meeting and go, well, what's their turnover rate, or what's their pain? Is it hard for them to hire new people?
Figuring out what they want. I mean, the goal is you know, what are you looking to accomplish with the benefit plans? Or it could just be completely different than you could ever imagine. You know, I had a conversation one time and she said, you know, I'm just tired of people knocking on my door on their way out of the office to bother me about health insurance every day. How do we stop that? Right? So asking the right questions, and you guys are probably saying, well, you know, you guys talk about this all the time. What questions should I be asking? Well, we're not going to give you all the questions. We are going to give them that. We are going to create that script for you at the event, which you're working hard on, because I want to give you, per avatar, CFO, CEO, HR. Here is the conversation that you want to have with them, and here are the questions that are going to be more important to them or more engaging with them. You know, the simplest one, guys, is what is the purpose of healthcare at your organization? And you'll get. I mean, that's probably one of the best ones you've given me.
It's an engaging conversation piece.
Yeah, and
right?
I've given you guys that one before, so I don't mind giving it
Tell
again.
me what's important to you about medical insurance, right? And they will throw up on you and tell you all about it. And guess what? Do you suspect that the answer's different if you ask the CFO separately from HR? Of course it is. 9 times out of 10.
Well, and then you can ask them too, what is it that you think the CFO thinks the purpose of healthcare at the organization is? Because you get their mindset of what that, you know, you may not have the CFO in the room, but you can at least get an understanding of what he may be thinking, because she's going to tell you, or at least what she perceives it to be. And I think that's very important too, because now you've got to, especially if you're stuck with HR and the benefits manager, you've now got to make this whole story come together in the second meeting.
So here's a quick question. So people write answers, engage. Tell me what you think some of the thoughts are by human resources people about what they're concerned about if they considered making a change to you or your firm, right? So I'll give you one. I'll start you off. Administrative load, workload. They think it's going to be administratively intense for them, and so they articulate that in different ways, or they'll just say, gee, that just sounds so complicated or complex, and it sounds like it's going to be a lot of work for us, right? Or here's another one. I think we'd have just too much noise. I love that, noise. What's noise? Employee complaints. So write some of the things that you think HR people are concerned about as pain points when you ask them and you come in and say, after 2 hours of meetings or 1 hour of meeting, that you should fire your incumbent who you hug and hire us.
Yeah, loose bashing the broker. Ray Cobra said sometimes you sell them on firing the incumbent and they end up hiring somebody else. Yeah, that one I never liked. It. That hurts when that happens. If they don't pick me, that didn't always bother me. But if they hired somebody else over me, that means I got a problem and I'm not doing something wrong. But
well, and it also can mean that you just didn't have the ear of the decision maker, right?
That's true.
I know a case Ray's talking about, right? A physician was the owner. He made the decision. We weren't in the meeting, right? So who the hell knows what they're going to do?
The wrong person.
So we just ended up talking to the people who were influencers, but not decision makers. Another thing you should find out in the sales process. Who's the decision maker? Do you have a coach? Is there an economic buyer? Who's the user buyer? Who's the technological buyer? That's 30-year-old sales stuff, guys. But guess what? Almost none of you know who those are. But a lot of times it's just because of the size of the groups you're working on. There aren't that many different people involved in the sale. But as you move upstream, you got all sorts of interested parties who all have different needs. The technological buyer isn't concerned about EBITDA or earnings or savings or how it's going to reduce turnover or make recruiting for new talent in a 3% unemployment market better, right? They're the technology guys. The user buyer is the employee. Am I going to be able to understand it? Will it be easy to explain? Will I get it? Can I explain it to my spouse? Will my wife understand it? Because she really makes the decisions. I mean, men are stupid. We don't decide on any of this stuff. We take it home and they decide most of the time. Different than the economic buyer. What kind of ROI am I going to get?
Yeah.
Right? So all these things should be discussed, aren't always discussed. We're going to spell it out for you step by step.
Yeah, and that's fast forwarding. It's finding what is the problem, right? Is the problem, and we can go into CFO, right? I just have a couple notes written down here. I've got a meeting next week, 120 Life Group. They heard me again, guys, marketing. Probably a year and a half, 2 years ago, they heard me speak. They're self-funded. They're with the local guy. They're calling me in, right? The first thing I'm going to ask them is, why did you take your time out of your busy schedule to schedule a meeting with me? I'm going to find out the problems. Now, I kind of know that his per employer per year is pretty high. And, again, he's going to state his problems. I'm going to give you just high level. He's going to state why I'm meeting with him. Tell me more about that. Why do you think this problem exists? So your healthcare costs continue to increase every year, or, your PPY. Why do you think this problem exists? He's now going to tell me what he actually thinks. Not what I think and not what I know. What he thinks is the reason behind it, which again is how I'm going to sell around it. His psychology, right? Do you know how much this is costing your company annually in profits, right? If it's a CFO, I'm talking about profits. If he's already talked about something of the pain as to why it's hurting the organization, I'm now going to reframe that question based on that, okay? And then, what have you tried to do to fix this? What have you done? So talk about it. He's got self-funding, so on and so forth. Let him tell you, because you're essentially asking, what has the broker done to try to fix this?
Do you pay people to manage healthcare? Are you involved in it? Or are you just informed once a year at a renewal meeting?
Yeah. So basically, what has the broker done? Then he's going to tell you, well, we switched carriers, we did this. Okay, great. How did that work out? It's not working. Okay. How long have you been dealing with this, right? How many years, how long has this problem been going on? We're building up pain. We're building up emotion. I'm not talking necessarily directly about healthcare. I'm asking about his problems. This is sales psychology 101, right?
You never sell healthcare by talking about healthcare.
So a couple more things I see here. How long you've been dealing with it? Are you comfortable relying on the strategy that you have in place right now moving forward?
If you keep losing the amount of money you lost in the last 3 years going forward in the next 3 years, what's the impact? Right? You're just having a conversation because you have no expectation of making the sale. You're just trying to figure out, like a physician doing a differential diagnosis. I don't know anything. You got 6 trillion cells in your body and they produce different symptoms. And unless I ask you questions, I can't figure out what it is. Because diagnosis.
Yeah, are you comfortable relying on the current strategy to run your business?
Yeah.
And meaning when you're asking his business as a CFO, the financial, right? The financial side, the impact that it's going to have on his budget that he has aligned for healthcare, right?
What if some people put in for HR?
Yeah,
what do they think
of that? I don't know
that?
why the comments aren't showing up right here. For whatever reason, they disappeared. Okay. So let's see. Let's look at some of the things. Doug Moore, my employees won't understand. Hola. What's up, Felipe? This just happened to Rick Scarborough. This just happened to me. I was misled by the influencer. Concerned about having to do more work. Our broker does everything for us. Great.
Okay, so our broker does everything for us. That sounds exciting. What does that look like? Right? You got to find out what that means to that person, because it could be
But if
trivial.
they're saying, my broker does everything for us, but why would they be saying that? You're pitching them something. If you're asking about their problem, and they're telling you their problem, and then they say, well, our broker's doing everything, the two doesn't make sense. Hold on, I'm confused. You just told me you had this problem, but you said your broker's handling that? you're asking the wrong question, okay? Because you're getting an answer that you can't work around now.
That's
that
a
doesn't
symptom.
make sense.
That's a symptom of them feeling pressured
Yeah.
by your tactics.
Let's see. Dan says, fired the incumbent due to things I brought to their attention, but they went with somebody else. Right, Cobra? HR always finds fear in the unknown.
Guaranteed, Dan, you didn't charge a fee to do that free advice for them.
Can't believe there's a better way to source healthcare other than what every other broker has a spoon feeding them for years. HR's last 2 years, it's kind of, it's funny is I saw something today and it was talking about doing things for free to get in, and we've built an industry that does everything for free, that they don't trust it anymore because everything's free. Now, when you charge them, you get more trust and credibility. I think it's complete flip side, because I heard somebody today talking about that. It's like, well, if you want in, do some work for free to prove to them. That's what we all have done, and everybody does, right? That's what the market gives you. You now have to flip it and charge them because they're not used to that. Now, I'm paying. I must be getting value, because all this free shit that people have been telling me and giving me for years hasn't equated
I'm seeing
to
a
anything.
common theme here, right? So benefits admin, and everybody works that out so it appears to be free. Okay, so have any of you ever asked a simple question? I know you haven't. I already know the answer. That's why I'm asking you. Have any of you responded by saying, what's your turnover rate at your 70-man company? 5%? What, 10? We're talking 3.5 to 7 new hires a year? You need a benefits admin? You feel like processing 7 new hires applications, assuming they made it through their waiting period, for benefits admin is a big deal to you? Adjudicating the monthly adds and deletes when you only have a 5 to 10% turnover rate, that's not even 1 per month, is a big deal. So you can explore that with them. I did benefits admin starting in 1995. It was new then. It's not a big deal. Okay, that's not a differentiator.
I never talk about it. I've never sold it. I tried to for 1 year after I went to Ascend and got sold to buy all this shiny objects. You need a benefit admin system. Bullshit. I'm here to lower your healthcare costs. It's not why they hire me. You do that with your payroll.
Well, that's a whole nother meeting, right?
Yeah.
Because no one knows how to reduce the frequency and severity of claims, we distract and confuse the whole buying thing, going, free payroll, free benefits.
Again, you're falling into this trap. I never dealt with this benefit admin and all this free shit. I never compete with that because my conversation is different and I'm asking different questions around where the pain is.
And guess what? I work with big box chain stores. None of them do it for free on big cases.
No,
they all
charge.
They all pay a fee to do ACA compliance, ERISA compliance, communication benefits admin.
Yeah, they expect to pay it. They don't want to do it for free. Oh, by the way, today's show is sponsored by Chief Health Alliance. Forgot about that. The sales psychology, we'll go back to it, getting off topic, but let me jump back into it. I'll give you a little taste more.
We did HR. You gave us a few ideas. There's a pretty common theme
I'm not a CFO, so it's like...
Submit some CFO objections. What do you think are CFO objections?
Give us the objections, because Craig's best on the fly of answering questions. What are the objections that you guys are facing in your prospects meetings? This is what this show is all about. Again, staying sharp, staying on point, sharing in ideas, contribute to the show. We got a bunch of you on here. Some are going to be watching on a replay, but that's okay. Even if you're watching on the replay, put in the objections you're getting, because we'll go back and answer them. So, are you comfortable relying on the current strategy to run your business? What would you like to see change in the next 24 to 36 months, right? They're telling you what they're uncomfortable with. But now, what do you want to see change, right? Let them tell you what they want. And again, you sell your solution and your ideas around that in the second meeting, okay? Another part is just releasing control, self-admission. You're uncomfortable with the current situation that you have. What's stopping you from achieving the goal that you want to have in the next 24 months? So you've established what the problem is. You're unhappy with the pain. You know where you want to go in the next 24 months, 12 months, 36 months. What's stopping you from accomplishing that now? What am I asking them? I'm asking them, why can't you do that right now on your own? Why can't you do that now with your broker?
Well, here's the bigger picture. You're just asking them to just stop for a moment and think about the problem Einstein said it best. If I had 60 minutes to save the world, I'd spend 55 minutes thinking about the problem before I decided what to do. Most of your prospects have never really thought about it. So if you disengage from making the sale and only place yourself in the position to figure out how to help them help themselves by having a really quality set of questions to,
Good, we got some
to
here. Here we go.
literally pull out of them what pains they're trying to avoid. And here's the big part. What are the consequence questions? Wait till we teach you how to ask the consequence
those
questions.
are coming up. We're not going to go into those.
Yeah.
yet.
I'm just teasing.
So Chris
those.
and Rich have the same answer. I always call Rich Rick for whatever reason. My buddy's name is Rick. We got a flat renewal. We're going to stay put. We got a renewal decrease this year.
Are you fully insured? Are you in a pool? Right? So it depends on what the details are of that. So if you're fully insured and you got a rate pass, that's fantastic. It is absolute 100% proof that they're printing money based on your risk pool, your group. Because, of course, almost nobody gives a rate decrease. Usually, if your group is running great inside a pool, you get a rate pass. And they typically, it's going to be 0 to 13% in most rate pools that I've ever seen in 30 years. And 13 is the standard. And if they look behind the scenes, they might, get it to single digits. You beg them, borrow, steal. Get me say high single digits, great. They get you 8 and 9, and you're great. But if they give you a rate pass in a pool where you don't have an experience rated contract, then there you have it. If you're fully insured and you're in a state where they do have data, well, you can show them how a flat rate increase is in fact stealing money from them. So you just have to.
The answer is, it sounds like you're overpaying. But
Yeah,
I think you
you
can
gotta
go
educate
back
them.
to if they're getting there, you're not asking the right questions, and where you've gone to these answers because you're asking the wrong questions to start with. So you haven't found the pain yet, because the pain isn't the annual increase. If he's saying, well, we're doing good, we got a flat renewal this year, you didn't start out where they came from, right? So 24, 36 months ago, what has it looked like? Why am I here? What is the challenge? How is it affecting your business?
Yeah.
If he tells you it's renewal flat, well, great. So that didn't affect your business this year, but you had mentioned that you had 10% and 10% last year, and it affected your business this way, and this way. So you got a 12-month pass here, right?
Think of it like a physician.
But no, hold on.
You're not done. Okay.
So you're flat again this year, but the year before you had a 10% increase, and it affected your business in this manner. Well, you still have that 10% increase for another 12 months.
They always forget that.
So my question would be is how is that affecting your business again for the next 12 months that it has last year? Okay? Because they forgot about they forgot about the 10% increase the year before. Right? So you just got a 10% increase. We're going to extend it for 24 months, that increase. It's not a flat. It's just an extension of their bump, right? It's now a 24-month contract. How did that affect your business? So you're okay with it affecting your business for the next 12 months is what you're telling me.
The point is, you probably went about asking the wrong questions prematurely, and they gave you the habitual. Remember, your prospects have been trained by brokers over the last 5, 10, 25 years, whatever it is. And so you ask the typical broker question, and they respond with an objection.
How are things going? How'd your renewal look this year? It's flat. You forgot about building up the pain from the years prior, right? So talk to me about the last couple of years and how healthcare has affected your business and what it's looked like. I always say to them is, I need to understand where you came from before I make recommendations moving forward.
I don't know anything about you.
I don't.
So
renewal
look,
is this. How did you get to that flat renewal? How did you get a 10% renewal? What recommend? And those are part of the consulting agreement. Is what is the last 36 months of recommendations by your broker and your organization? Because it gets you to tell you the psychology of the decisions. Why were these decisions made? So it's interesting. So 13,000 Life Group the other day, we moved to Mercer Aon's exchange, $1.5 million a year. 3 years ago, Well, great. And, we got a decrease the first year. It was great. But it's been going up 5% every year. So talk to me about, I didn't say, well, Graz, 5%, what are you going to do if you get 10% next year? You know what I said to him? I said, talk to me about 3 years ago. Why was that decision made? Well, the decision made was because the CFO didn't like the fluctuation and the uncertainty in the healthcare budget of the claim spikes. Okay? Great. I now know the CFO's mindset. I know he doesn't like the uncertainty, so they went fully insured on a 13,000 life group. Okay? Now, the trap was, well, geez, why didn't they just use aggregate advanced funding? You don't have that, right? That's the broker trap that most of us would say, well, you could have done this, you could have done that. I'm smart. I didn't say anything. I said, okay, great. That's interesting. So talk to me a little about when you made that decision, so you went from self-funding to fully insured. Who made that decision? It was the CFO. It was because of the uncertainty. We outsourced all of our management. We don't use a broker. We outsourced our whole HR benefits department of 20 people to some ally or some company. All right, so what I'm doing here, guys, is I'm starting way back here. I'm trying to find why they are where they are today and work my script and my strategies for moving forward. But always find out how they got there in the past couple of years on why they made those decisions. They will tell you how they make decisions. And that's going to be how are you going to get your solutions across? She may say the CFO made that decision. Great. You think I'm ever going to talk to her about solutions now without the CFO involved? What good is it? How does that work? How does that work for me if I start telling her my solutions? She just told me who makes the decision because of how they made decisions in the past, right? How did you change your last broker? You had your broker. How long you been dealing with them? Great. 5 years. When you changed 5 years ago, what was the reason you changed? Who made that decision? Right? Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, for purposes of today's call, I think it gives them great perspective.
I mean, this is what we're going to go over in that thing. So I don't want to give you guys everything because it's cheating. But what else we got here? So let's go through some questions.
Tyler says,
guys, was that helpful? Does that make sense? Again, it probably has to do with asking the wrong questions. And I've done it. I've gotten the flat renewal increase because I went to, how's things looking? How was your renewal this year? I went right into it. I got that answer, and now I got to backpedal out of it. So I've made that mistake more than I can count. So I'm right there with you guys. Let's see who else here we got. Tyler says, recent one I got from the CFO, our board just switched brokers and the service has been good thus far. Okay, great. Kind of what is leading up into that? The service has been great so far. So was the change of the broker because of service? So you changed to a new broker, and that's great. The service is great. I mean, that's table stakes in our industry, right? If you don't give good service, the way I look at it is you shouldn't be in the business. You're not going to be in the business very long, okay? But what I'd like to know is you've had to change that brokerage, and what was the reason for that, okay? And fine, if he says service, then okay, great, right? What are the problems? You need to ask, you need to ask other questions around the problems that are concerning to him on the healthcare spend, right? Because it all leads back to the cost of healthcare that affects the employee contributions, recruiting, retaining talent, the benefit structure, the deductibles, so on and so forth. You're in a competitive market. All that's really has to play with the healthcare spend.
I'd be really curious as to, in all the years I've been doing this, I'm curious as to why the board was involved with the healthcare decision, because that's very unusual, right? So it'd be interesting to hear the story about why a board was involved in choosing a health insurance broker, because that's really an outlier.
I think we covered. What else you want to cover today on the sales psychology? I don't want to give them everything. I'm stealing a lot of fire from what we're talking about.
Let's see if we got any more questions.
Yeah, give us some more questions. Give me some more objections. These are fun, guys. Right? And some of the Todd Hudson, it makes sense. I'm asking the wrong questions. Bingo! Todd Hudson, guy takes action, doing some great things. Todd Hudson recently invested in a guy to set him up meetings with big people. Congratulations. Significant amount of money, but he knows that his problem is because he's invested in himself and he's learned a new way to talk to prospects, and he has partners to help assist him with closing or bigger accounts. He now understands the real big problem for him is getting in front of the prospects. So he's hired somebody to do that, and he now knows that he can structure his conversation in a way that is compelling to his prospect that they haven't heard before, and he has the solutions and partners to make up and close those accounts.
Here's another way to say it, right? You're either going to buy it, borrow it, or build it, right? And you're going to set up your marketing to get you those prospects, and you're going to use one of those three messages. So what Todd did, we need to get an award with like big giant stones, right?
Balls of
Give the
Steel. I
Balls of
looked
Steel
for those.
award,
I couldn't find them.
right?
We're going to have to get them.
Because Todd deserves it, right? Because what he did was say, hey, look, I'm going to borrow someone else's relational capital and pay them to introduce me to groups that I may not be able to get in front of for months or years. And so he's making a significant capital investment to borrow someone else's relational capital because Todd Hudson's a stud.
Todd Hudson will tell you too. Todd Hudson he was sleeping at his beach house. I think 2 years. He said, was he sleeping? He was sleeping, hanging out at his beach house for 2 years, just chilling,
not
living the
business.
broker life, and all of a sudden he's fired up as can be. I can't tell you. I don't talk to many people as fired up and as excited as he is. Coming back and going after it.
Great
John
to see.
Clay, Kathy, sign me up. Mark me down.
John Clay, we had a fun phone call, didn't we, Johnny boy? Huh? With third phone call in, and we find out, right? Trojan horse solution. John Clay's not afraid. He knows all the cool shit in life happens on the other side of fear. He makes some phone calls, makes stuff happen. We're 3 calls into a prospect meeting, and HR invites the incumbent broker on. And lo and behold, I already work with that firm. The mothership of the big box chain stores already approved this Trojan horse solution. And that should be a slam dunk, Johnny Clay.
John Clay taking action. Guys, if you have any other questions or objections, put them down here. If not, Todd Hudson, I'm completely living on the other side of fear. See you in Cali.
Right on.
Action speaks. I don't go by what people say. I go by what they do. Poach, welcome to the show. All right, I think we're going to wrap there.
Right.
That's it, guys. Thanks for joining us. Sales Psychology 101. Hope it's been helpful. Go study some sales book. Your problem is the questions you're asking. The questions that you're asking aren't getting the answers you want. You've got to ask the right questions to get the answers that you want so you can pivot your way into the sales. We gave you some ideas.
Don't buy any sales books because they're probably going to be old and outdated.
Yeah.
Come to the event in August and it'll all be spelled
higher
out.
level. We're going to give you specific ones, industry specific, avatar specific for those that don't know what that means. HR, CFO, CEO, so on and so forth.
Tested, proven, no theory, no book reports, real people, real brokers, your peers.
See you soon. Thanks for joining us, guys.